This is Jim Smith, and I'm here with Laurent Mellion, who is in the solar thermal business, and his home is a showcase for solar thermal. So tell us what we're looking at here up on your roof.
So you're looking at our two solar arrays. On the bottom half and lower portion, you see our solar electric panels that are flush mounted to the roof. And on the upper half, at a steeper angle, and I would say a little less good looking, you see old solar thermal panels from the 1970s that I've decided to reuse because they're going to last, and they've proven already they've lasted more than 40 years.
Yeah.
And so the really interesting thing is that you see the two arrays offer about the same surface of collection.
Right.
And the solar thermal panel, that's 15 kW of power, where the PV, it's about 3.3 kW of power, which you're looking at. So I just like to remind people or explain how much more efficient the solar thermal panels are.
Yes, you are a true evangelist for solar thermal, and you're in the business. You're a contractor.
Yeah, well, I looked at the two solar technologies 15 years ago when I started. I didn't know which one I want to work on, but when I realized that the thermal panels capture 4 times more energy per square foot, and that Colorado homes use 3 to 4 times more energy for heating than they do for electric loads, I was convinced I wanted to go into this well-established and mature technology.
Great. I've shown a lot of homes which had Jimmy Carter solar thermal panels, which is what you're talking about when you talk about 1970s solar panels.
That's exactly what these panels are.
Right.
I
think he put those on the roof of the White House, didn't he? So, but Reagan removed them. So, but what I wanted to say is that I have shown so many homes from the that had these 1970 solar systems that were no longer functional.
Yeah.
What do you say to people who have these old tanks in their basements and the solar thermal panels on the roof, and it's just not doing anything?
Well, the shortest thing to say is have a professional solar thermal person like us come out and look at what's not working in your system, because often case we find that the homeowner has changed 3 times since Jimmy Carter. Nobody knows what the heck the system is supposed to do or how it works. And
but you can get those systems working.
Yeah, often we come up and charge somebody $200 for a little service call, and their solar system just needs to be turned on is all.
Yeah, right.
Sometimes now after 40 years there are more serious issues. The tank can be bad, a heat exchanger, a pump, a controller, so there can be more serious maintenance. But
doesn't hurt to bring you in and look at it.
Yeah.
What number should they call to have you come in?
Well, 303-792-0155. But my point is, generally speaking, when you have a renewable energy system, you're far better off paying to maintain and operate that system than paying to remove that and install a new one.
Yeah, right. Okay, well, let's go in and go down to the basement where the guts of the system are, where the hot water tanks are, and the rest of it, and then you can explain exactly how it works. Okay, let's go inside. Sure. We're in the basement now, and Laurent, tell us how this system works. Tell us what we're looking at here.
This is a solar heating system. There's a big tank, above 600 gallons, that can hold hot water and ultimately heat. Water from this tank goes through the panels on the roof to be heated. Once the tank is hot, we use that heat to preheat all the cold water for domestic hot water usage, and that virtually does all of the hot water usage on a year-round basis. And then we also use this heat to heat the house, and there are controls that are a little too complex to explain so quickly that make sure that we use the solar heat first and resort to the boiler only once the solar heat is exhausted.
So that high efficiency boiler there only kicks on when you don't have enough heat in the water from the sun.
That's correct.
Okay, great. And you told me that there are 2 coils in that tank there. One coil to heat the domestic hot water for showering and washing, and a separate coil for the water that circulates through the baseboard hot water system.
Yeah, that's correct. So you really have 3 loops of liquids. You have the contents of the tank that goes through the panels to collect heat. Then you have a big, long, 100-foot, 1-inch copper coil that preheats all the cold water on its way to the water heater that's inside the boiler. And then you have a second coil that is part of the boiler and heating system of the house that preheats, returns from the house with solar heat, and heats the house through that.
So the heating transfer is taken because you have a tank with 150-degree water, and then these coils, you're bringing in cold water, and by the time it goes through that 100 feet, it's almost as hot as the water in the tank.
Yeah, the only coil that would get cold water is the one from the city called for the
domestic hot water.
Yeah. And then the boiler loop is whatever temperature the returns from the house are.
But you've got continuous hot water. You really can't use up all your hot water because you've got so much hot water in the tank transferring its heat to that domestic hot water coil.
Especially at the season where there's hardly any space heating. I was just checking last night after my teenager had been in the shower half an hour. The boiler was still off, and she could have probably showered all night for 12 hours. The boiler wouldn't have kicked on.
Right. Okay, well, thanks for explaining how your solar thermal system works to both create the domestic hot water and to heat your house in the winter.